Turning to SolarWinds' colossal cybersecurity breach, which left several government agencies, including the Defense Department, vulnerable for at least 9 months. In March, the IT firm's data breach went undetected and may have exposed information from some of the highest levels of government. So why did it take so long for Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency to uncover the hack? Hitesh Shesh. Please tell me if I'm mispronouncing your name.
You got it, Chip. You got it.
Hitesh Shesh. He is the president and CEO of Vectra, a cybersecurity threat detection and response company. First question, do we know yet how this attack went undetected for so long, and what makes this hack unlike previous cyber attacks?
I think at this point we have a fairly good understanding of how the attack unfolded. And in terms of why it went undetected, there are a couple of reasons why. Number one, there is a mindset that exists in many security organizations that you can actually stop these attacks, and that is just fundamentally flawed, and that is further propagated by vendors who come and sell to these agencies and tell them that, look, our technology is actually going to stop and prevent attacks from happening. When that's effectively like saying that there is a cure for COVID nowadays. And that is just not true. And the reason, and you asked the right question, why did you go undetected, is because the mindset is to try and stop them as opposed to focusing on discovery and remediation and assuming that you're going to get breached. Those are two very different things to think about.
The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency says it has evidence that suggests SolarWinds may not be the only way hackers got information. Do we know anything more about how else hackers may have accessed government data?
Well, CISA has put out a couple of theses around what the other alternate mechanisms could be, but we should really overall should not be surprised, because the truth is that the attack surface has grown exponentially over the last 12, 24 months. And as companies and agencies adopt cloud infrastructure, Internet of Things or IoT devices, this is just going to proliferate. And so again, it comes back to, you've got to assume that you'll get breached. Now the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? And do you have the right tools and mechanisms in place to contain those breaches once they occur?
What lessons have been learned so far from this data breach, and what is being done, if anything, to prevent attacks like this one in the future?
Well, I think my hope is that if there are a few lessons that have been learned out of this, is that the ease with which these attacks unfolded simultaneously across 6+ agencies should be a wake-up call, if there's any, for our government agencies in the U.S. and certainly globally as well. I'll put it to you this way: if we had a concerted effort, an attack on 6 agencies where people came with armed guns and started shooting at the buildings, we'd be having a very different discussion, a national discussion today. But what has happened here is the digital equivalent of that, and all they did is they went electronically and they've mounted a massive assault on our agencies. Now, the reality is that most of the government looks at this and gets really alarmed, but the fact is that the political will to really address this very aggressively has been lacking for a very long time. So, my hope here is that with the new incoming administration, that they will look at this and attach the gravity to it that we would have if, again, this was an armed attack on the agencies as opposed to a digital attack.
Well, what is your sense with the incoming administration? Have you gotten the sense that they do have the political will to go after cyber attacks like this?
To be perfectly honest, I don't know. I think the rhetoric is there from President-elect Biden that, he's going to attack. There'll be a cost for the people who perpetrated the attack and that they're going to take this very seriously. But the truth is that we have heard this before from other administrations as well. So it remains to be seen what they actually do about it. It's one thing for the President-elect to say that, but then Congress has to do something about this as well. And they have to take this equally seriously. And that, so far evidence would say that that's not the case.
Hitesh Shesh, covering both the political and the cybersecurity beats for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chip. Thanks for having me.
All right.